Billy, good to see you again. Obviously, no, it's the first time actually we've caught up really since the Kidderminster loss in the playoffs. Firstly, as how's your summer been? But secondly, we'll move on quickly to the kind of the loss of key players and how we kind of and how you've managed to recover and cope with the loss of the likes of Bailey Hobson and Dom Smith and Connor and stuff like that, and how the off season and stuff like that has shaped so far for you.
Well, there's never an off season really. Um, After as soon as the Kidderminster game finished, the next day it was back to recruitment. It was back, it was straight into it. There's no time. There's no time to wait for anything. We already had a plan of the retention list and people, but obviously we knew we were going to leave. We knew we were going to lose players, but I think we've recruited quite well. Um, you mentioned the loss of Dom and Bales and obviously Connor and there's quite a few more that have gone out the door. I think that's just a natural progression. I think that's what happens. I think players will come and go, but what I will say with all the players that have left, they all did a sterling job last season for us. Um, they all contributed in a really positive way, along with the lads who stayed, and hence why we finished where we finished. People have choices to make. Um, so yeah, it's kind of just we I've never been one for worrying about who's not here. We've just got to focus on people who are here, and I think the players that we've brought into the club and the ones that have re-signed, if you like, um, I'm quite pleased with it at the minute where we are.
But I've been brought up, especially around non-league football, to know that you have to have a good core of players, a good core group to have a successful squad and to have a successful team. But to that core that you've retained, you must then be pretty delighted to add to seven new faces. And obviously, I've encountered all seven individually, and they all seem like relatively nice guys. How pleased are you to get those seven new players in the door?
Yeah, well, all seven of them signed really, really quickly. I had a initial conversation with them, but the pleasing thing is none of them were long and drawn out. None of them were like, sometimes these things sometimes take longer than what they should, but these lads, it was done, all seven of them were done very quickly. Once we'd made initial contact, there was no toing and throwing or going backwards and forwards. They all seemed, once had sports and were all really, really keen. Um, to obviously join us and to get on board. I mean, you've got four of them who've really got, you know, four of them have got a lot. They want to prove a lot. We've had Jake Dame, we've had Lewis Salmon before, so that was important. We know the character, we know what we're getting. Jamie Walker and Deckhow just so enthusiastic about it and really want to prove a point to everybody. And then obviously we knew we needed some more experience. And I said, me and you had talked about it, Kieran, even throughout the season, we really, really needed it and a really experienced centre half. We've got two. One's a little bit younger, as in Ken's a little bit young, quite a bit younger than Sean Brisley, but they're both very, very experienced, certainly at this level and above. So them two have been great. And then obviously we got Ryan, and I say Ryan was really a really, really easy one. We had an initial chat. The biggest thing for Ryan was losing the full time football, and he's been a full time footballer for probably since he was about 16, I think. And this was the biggest thing I had to convince him was to come out of the full time football. But once we'd got over that obstacle, it was done really, really quickly, which is a good thing. which is a good thing because all the players that we looked at, all the players that we landed had other suitors and things, but we got it. We managed to get it done, like I say, really, really quickly. And I think the biggest thing with a 7 is the fit into what we are and where we are, and their attitude is really, really good, and they're very, very down to earth. All 7 are really, really down to earth players and down to earth, kids, and I just thought they'd fit into the group we already had because I've said before, there's lots of good footballers about, there's lots of good players about, but we picked ones with the right character, and I think that's what we've done again with it. I think that's what we've done again.
You spoke about the kind of characters and stuff like that you having those good characters in the squad. How important is it if we're to I know you say about reaching that golden 50-point mark. How important are those characters going to be and their kind of attitudes to playing for Alfreton, especially those new 7?
Well, they have to be because one of the main reasons why we finished, if not the main reason why we finished where we did last season, was because our hard work and our work ethic from everybody. Everybody worked unbelievably hard last season, put everything they can. I say all the time to the players, every game they go out, everything should be given, and that's what I demand. That's why we finished above a lot of teams in our league, because we were prepared to work harder than our opposition, and that's what players coming into the club have to understand first and foremost. Football is one thing, ability is one thing, but anybody who plays here, anybody who plays for me knows they've got to work. They've got to work hard first and foremost, regardless of what abilities they've got, what qualities they bring. They've got to work hard, and I think everybody at the football club, including the players that are already with us and the players we brought in, I think that is what they are. They can deliver that. And it is going to be massive this season because the league has got stronger. With the teams going out, really taking Telford out the equation, there were kind of teams that you may have expected to be down there, and we probably, I'm not disrespecting them teams, but we probably were expected to be amongst them. And the teams that have come into our league have just made it a whole more difficult. All of them have got really good financial support behind them. So I think the league has got a lot tougher than it even was last season.
Looking ahead then, next week or 6 days from now, lads come back for pre-season training, a couple sessions and then straight into Saturday, Tuesday, really throughout July. I suppose we're in a bit of a blessed situation compared to my experiences down south, that we've got a real kind of decent pre-season schedule. When you look at the amount of football league sides we've got on national league teams, how important is pre-season going into the start of the season? What, in something like, I think like 46 days time or something, I think someone tweeted the other day.
I think pre-season is what it is. I'm a bit more laid back in pre-season now than I really have been in years gone by, because I think if you look at last season pre-season, it's probably the worst pre-season myself and Bob have had. We were really going into the first game of the season, and we were, I won't say, we were slightly concerned about it because we hadn't had a good pre-season, not to our usual standards. Usually we're really, really good in pre-season, but we hadn't really been to the standards, if you like, where we usually are in pre-season. But like I say, look where we ended up finishing. So, look, I think it's a chance for players. We need the players to gel. We need the players, obviously, to play together. We build up fitness. We build up so we reach a point with the first game of the season that we're at. We're getting very close to our peak and where we want to be. We'll have some trialists coming in, so it'll give us an opportunity to have a look at some trialists. So obviously, we're going to have 5 or 6 trialists coming in. I think it's just pre-season is just we might try some different formations, um, but I think I like to say it's the results in pre-season are not. We've got a really difficult pre-season. We always have a really difficult pre-season. We're playing virtually every team that are at a higher level than us, apart from one. So it is what it is. We'll hopefully have a good pre-season. The main thing about pre-season is not picking up any injuries. If we can get through the games and not pick up any injuries, I'll be highly delighted when the first game comes. Because the squad is going to be tight again. We know that we're not going to be any of the realms of 80%, probably 90% now with the sides that we're in. We know that as a group, as a club, we can't compete with probably 95% of the teams in our league now, regarding of resources and regarding of squad sizes and infrastructure, if you like. But what again, like I said at the beginning, is we've got to really roll our sleeves up and not overachieve, because we set targets in ourselves, but we just got to make sure we give it a damn good go, and if we do, we'll be fine.
Perfect, Bill. I think we'll leave it there. I think we've covered everything, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, like I said, no, mate. We'll have a good go.
All good. Perfect, Bill. Thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Cheers, Kim. Thanks, mate.